In this video, we'll look at the 8 disciplines of problem solving, also known as 8D. Why is it important to use a structured approach to problem solving? Well, the main reason is it provides transparency around the problem solving activities. It opens up channels of communication between employees within the organization, between you and customers, and you and suppliers. It also leads to selecting the process that produces the least number of defects. It improves the odds of finding the root cause of a problem, and ultimately it improves customer satisfaction. I would argue that having a structured approach, a transparent and sound process, is more important than getting the correct outcome of a problem. Now, I know that's a provocative statement, but I want to explore it a little using an example. Let's suppose the purchasing department selects vendor A to supply raw material based on a sales flyer that vendor A left in the company's lobby. The vendor turns out to be completely incompetent. How would you react to that? Take a moment to think about it. Well, clearly the decision to select vendor A was not a good decision, nor could this particular approach be considered sound decision making. Now let's contrast this with the same example, but slightly different. Let's suppose that the same vendor A is selected to supply raw material, but this time the decision is based on several of your employees visiting their plant, customer references being checked, and vendor A's material being used for a period of time prior to signing them on as a supplier. All very positive experiences. Let's further assume that the vendor turns out to be completely incompetent again. Now how would you react? Well, in this case, it appears the purchasing department did conduct a thorough review of vendor A, and by all measures did what a purchasing department is expected to do. Notwithstanding, the outcome was the same. It's clear that having a transparent and sound process is more important than an individual outcome. How does this tie into customer satisfaction? If you're meeting the commercial expectation of your customers, let's say that's price and quality delivery, they will be happy to leave you do what you do best and pay you for it. And if you're not meeting their expectations, they will require frequent updates, conference calls, on-site visits, corrective action plans, and so on. Basically, they're going to hang out in your backyard. So if you fall into the latter, the best thing you can do is have a transparent and sound process. It'll be invaluable in helping you manage the problem. This is a list of other problem-solving methodologies. It does include the 8 disciplines. It's not an exhaustive list. I'm sure there are others. I just wanted you to be aware that 8D has company. Okay, now let's look at why a structured approach to problem solving should not be used. Now, here are some reasons that I've been given in the past, and we'll just look at a few of them. I don't know any methods. We haven't been taught by anyone in the problem-solving methodology. Others have said it's too slow. I don't have time for all of that kind of structure. I've got to get on with solving the problem. Ad hoc provides flexibility. Structure is too confining for the difficult problems that we have. Perhaps these are all true in some very limited cases, but it is widely believed that brains will outperform brawn every time. Okay, what is 8D? Well, 8D is an 8-step problem-solving methodology. It's used for solving problems involving defects, not so suitable for problems of variation, waste elimination, or problem prevention. 8D was developed in the mid-1980s at Ford Motor Company, and it's based on a U.S. military standard 1520 called Corrective Action and Disposition System for Non-Conforming Material. The techniques used, the tools used, and part of the methodology that we find in 8D is also crossed over into many other disciplines of structured thinking, some of which I mentioned before and are listed here at the bottom of the slide. Where is 8D used? Well, it's used extensively in automotive. It's also used quite widely in manufacturing, healthcare, software development, data processing, financial services. Perhaps you've seen 8D used in other industries. These are just the ones that I've seen. 8D can really be used anywhere a product or a process or a service incurs defects, and it is important to find root cause. So why do we use 8D? Well, it is methodical. Others can follow it if they're familiar with it. The 8 disciplines are pretty well known. It is transparent in as much as the 8 disciplines, the 8 steps, are clearly laid out, and anyone declaring that they're in a given discipline will be fully understood by, and what that means, by others who have a vested interest. It helps organizations make sense out of nonsense. It does bring order to chaos, and it acts as a great firefighting tool because of its containment feature. 8D does reveal root cause and is generally faster than other methods. And 8D also documents the problem-solving process. Here are the 8 disciplines. Now just notice that there's actually 9 steps, so D0 was added after. 8D was made popular by Ford. So D0 is gathering preliminary data around the problem. D1, selecting a team to solve the problem. D2 is defining the problem. D3 is containing the problem so that further defective material doesn't get to customers. D4, identifying root cause, and then D5 is identifying corrective action. D6 is the implementation of that corrective action. D7 is undertaking preventive measures to ensure recurrence doesn't happen. And then D8 is congratulating the team when the problem's been solved. So we'll look at each of these disciplines in detail in subsequent videos, and in the meantime you can find other information, including an 8D Excel-based template, at sixsigma.org.